What's up guys, this is Nick from Stridewise.com, and today I'm taking a look at the very unusual boot modeled after the footwear of traditional Portuguese shepherds, the Urban Shepherd Original. Urban Shepherd is a company that specializes in traditional Portuguese boots, and they lean really heavily into the storytelling aspect of that product. So much so, they have a funny tendency to make films about their boots and the characters surrounding them, which you can check out on their website.
My own needs of style, my own needs of identity, my own needs of moral and ethics that some of the brands today don't have.
All the boots are handcrafted in a small 5th generation shoemakers in Benedita, Portugal, which apparently is the traditional home of boots in Portugal. And they're all made with leather from local tanneries in Alcanena, where people have been making leather with traditional methods since the 16th century. The story of the company goes that a Houston attorney, Mike Lazinski, was killing time in an afternoon in Barcelona, and he walked into Tiago Maximo's shoe store, and he just really liked the look of the boots, thought they were really unique. And apparently he and his wife Crystal, who I've been speaking with, were looking for a new project after they'd sold their construction business, and they were so enamored by these boots that they became business partners with Tiago, blew up the company, and it became what it is today. So what is it about these boots that got them so hot and bothered? Now before I go on, I did want to say that if as you watch this video, you decide that you quite like these boots, you can get $25 off with the discount code 25SW2019. Put that in at checkout, and then 25 bucks off, and I get a little kickback, and everybody wins. I don't know how long that code is going to be up there for. It probably depends on how many people use it and how many people watch this video, and it's a pretty niche company, so I don't really know how successful it's going to be. So if you do like the boots, you got to make sure that you buy them sooner rather than later before that code gets switched off, and eventually I have to come back and edit this bit out of the video. So yeah, discount if you want it. If you don't, no worries. Let's take a close look at the boots though. So this is the Urban Shepherd Original boot. You can get it with these natural colored laces or with these brown laces. In most of the marketing, most people online, they wear it with these natural colored laces. Personally, I prefer it with the brown laces. You can also get it with these bright fluorescent red laces, which might look a little bit strange until you look closer at the boot and you see that actually the stitching along here, which is quadruple stitched, is an unusual fluorescent red color. That is one unusual thing about the boots. Another unusual thing about the boots is that it is natural leather. So this is the color of the leather before it gets dyed. It's calfskin, like a waxy calfskin leather, which is also unusual. But the most unusual thing about this boot, the thing that really struck me when I first saw it, is the toe box, because it is not round and it's not bulbous, but it's also not sleek, it's not pointed. It's a very unusual kind of vaguely blocky, angular kind of shape that definitely stands out in the crowded world of boots. I was interested as to the story behind that, so I was speaking to Tiago Maximo, the guy who started the company, or at least was the first guy who made these boots, and he told me that it's modeled after what his Portuguese ancestors wore. These boots are very similar to the sorts of boots that you would see on like Portuguese shepherds and masons and farmers and that sort of thing, and it's this tradition that he wanted to continue and bring to the world at large. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting anyways, an interesting story behind these boots. As I mentioned, Urban Shepherd is a brand that's very focused on the storytelling aspect of their boots. When I first got them, I confess, I didn't really know what to think of them. It is an unusual looking boot, but as I wore them in, I've been wearing these for a few weeks. As you can see, that's why they're kind of dirty. I wanted you to see what they look like with a few weeks of wear. But as I wore them in, yeah, they did become a very interesting pair of boots, and I realized they do have a lot to offer. They really stand out in the very crowded market of Goodyear welted boots. It's not a plain toe service boot. If that's what you want, there are other brands for that. But if you do want something that's going to stand out a bit, yeah, this boot, it's got a lot to offer. So let's take a close look at the leather. So there's a lot to talk about here. This is chrome tanned, hand waxed, natural, undyed calfskin. They picked calfskin because it's a bit more pliable than cowhide while still having a good amount of firmness and tensile strength. As you can see, I've been wearing these for a few weeks. I didn't clean them, so you can see that the natural coloring does show dirt a little bit more if you don't clean them now and then. And it's only available in the natural color as well. So as I mentioned, the leather comes from a local tannery in Portugal. It's the tanning center of Alcanena, which I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing. The tannery has been using traditional methods to tan leather for more than 100 years, and it's hand waxed with probtum. That's a natural colorless conditioner that's made by the same tannery that makes the leather. So the leather is hand waxed twice at their workshop after the boots are constructed to help make them more water resistant and to deepen the color of the leather. And that's all you're advised to use to condition these, by the way, probtum wax. You can get it on their site, and you apply it every 3 to 6 months to keep the leather from cracking and to deepen the color. and maintain the water resistance. But something very weird that Urban Shepherd does is they give you the option of getting these boots fire aged for an extra cost. That's when Tiago Maximo himself takes a blowtorch to the leather, which is meant to make the boots look older and cooler, basically. It gives the boots a patina, and it's like inspired by the fact that Portuguese shepherds would dry their boots in the fireplace and by the look of like firefighters' boots and so on. Basically, the boots are meant to eventually, with natural wear, look like fire-aged boots. But if you want to have that look out of the box, the fire aging will do that for you if you're happy to pay an extra $150. So this outsole is Vibram, but it is not the normal Vibram mini lug or Vibram commando sole you might be used to. This is the Vibram 2656 Cape Town Gum Light flat sole, which is very, very good at shock absorption, and that's also helped by the cork in the midsole. And it's just unbelievably soft. It's the softest Vibram sole I've ever come across. I will note that with some wear, it kind of came off a bit at the toe and a little bit at the back as well. Like, it's not the most durable outsole in the world. Because it's soft, it's kind of a trade-off you have to make. But it's possible I just dragged my feet too much. It could be totally my fault. And the cork filling that fills up the space between the wedges of the welt around the shank. Then on top, you get a genuine leather midsole and 10 genuine leather insole. The insole is the same leather, but it's just a little bit thinner than the midsole. Of course, finally, there's a Goodyear welt here, which means it's easy to re-sole and it's very water resistant as well. Especially so because it's a 360-degree Goodyear welt that goes all the way around the heel. And you combine that with the fact that the leather is waxed, and you've got a pretty water resistant boot. Now you have to be very careful when it comes to sizing with these, because unlike just about every other boot company who run large, so you have to size down, these run small, so you have to size up, and you have to size way up. My true size is an 11.5. That's like what I am on a brand device. Most of my boots are a size 11. These are a size 13. If you're a size 12 as well, you can also get a 13. But anyway, you do have to size up with these boots. And they also don't offer any half sizes, which is also a bit of a bummer. So, you know, if they had half sizes, I imagine I would have gotten a 12.5 because I'm 11.5, but I got a 13. Anyway, the fit is fine. It's not a big deal, but they don't make them any bigger than this right now, which could be a bit of a downside. As for the breaking in process, I didn't love it. It's fine. I just had to wear thick socks, even after a good like 3 or so weeks of wearing these. When I wear socks on the thinner side, they do kind of hurt my feet a little bit. Now, I expect that to change over time as the cork and the leather and so on mold around the shape of my foot. I think it's going to get better, but you do want to make sure you have thick socks with these. That's an important part of the break-in process. But besides that, they are pretty comfortable. This outsole is very unusual for a Vibram outsole. It is unbelievably soft. So a good thing about that is, first of all, the shock absorption is very, very good from the sole and also from the cork as well. It's also a very quiet boot, which is interesting and kind of surprising, but it's a pretty quiet boot. The arch support is kind of so-so. It's not the best in the world. It might get better again as the midsoles like shape around my foot. It's decent. It's not amazing arch support, but nonetheless, it's nice and soft. It's nice and quiet, but overall, pretty comfortable boot. Just make sure your socks are on the thicker side. Now, as far as the price goes, a pair of these boots is going to run you between like $250 and $275. The price changes a little bit. I think the company is still working out their pricing model and what is the best thing to charge. But at the moment, $260-ish is what you're looking at. Now, that's a pretty good price for Goodyear welted boots. The general rule in the world of boots is for boots that are Goodyear welted and with a shank and with like the leather insoles and so on. It's unusual to see them for under $300. Now, a big part of the reason why these are under $300 is the fact that they are made in Portugal, which is actually a relatively inexpensive place to get boots made. A lot of companies outsource their boot making to Portugal. Taft is a very popular one. But this company is not outsourced to Portugal. It's a boot with that is like it's made in Portugal by Portuguese people, modeled after Portuguese designs and so on. So that's a real level of authenticity a lot of people like. And yeah, again, it's under $300, so it's pretty reasonably priced. All right, so why should you consider getting a pair of Urban Shepherd original boots? They are pretty inexpensive. First of all, again, under $300. It is pretty unusual for a pair of Goodyear welted boots. Speaking of the Goodyear welt, it is a 360-degree Goodyear welt. It is a pretty water-resistant boot as a result. A lot of companies like Red Wing, they have 270-degree Goodyear welts, which are still very water-resistant. This is ever so slightly more water resistant. The leather is also pretty water resistant as well. It's nice and waxed. I like the leather as well, natural leather, but I'm a big fan of natural leather. It stands out, it's a bit unusual, and it goes with a bit more color palettes, like you have a brownish outfit, or like a more monochrome-ish outfit. They're a bit more versatile than just regular brown boots, in my opinion anyway. It's also got a shank in there, so it's going to help to maintain the shape over time. Shock absorption is very good. It's nice and quiet as well, which is unusual for this type of boot as well. And it's a very unusual boot. I maybe shouldn't have said versatile because they are very, very unusual the way they look, but I like that they are different. Like, they do stand out. This last is very interesting. This blocky toe is interesting. The fluorescent red stitching is pretty interesting. It's quadruple stitched as well, which is nice for durability. But I just kind of like the story behind them. It's kind of cool wearing these boots knowing they are modeled after like old-timey Portuguese shepherds and masons and so on. It's a different boot. It stands out in my wardrobe. I've got a whole ton of boots, and these, they are unlike any of the other ones. So if you're looking for something interesting that's going to be unlike all your other pairs of boots, these are a pretty good option. Few potential downside to this boot, not everyone likes the fact that they were so unusual. You know, they are different looking boots. The bright red stitching, the blocky toe, not everyone is a fan. I do want to point out though that if you do like everything about this boot except for the blocky toe, they have a more traditional round toe boot called the lake boot, which is pretty much exactly the same but with a more round looking toe. So that could be an option for you if that's the only thing holding you back. It also does get dirty very easily. This is natural leather. As you can see, plenty of dirt on it. You can just clean these regularly. It's not going to be a huge deal, but it is something you're going to have to be more mindful of than if you had regular like dark brown or black boots. And they don't have any half sizes, and they don't come any other widths, so it's a bit limited right now. Again, it's a relatively new company, so that is likely going to change in the future, but yeah, nonetheless, it doesn't have the most vast, expansive offerings right now. Finally, it is a very, very casual boot. I keep kind of calling it versatile because I think the color is relatively versatile, but it is nowhere near any kind of boot that you can dress up. It does not go with a suit. It doesn't go with business casual or anything like that. As far as casual boots go, like relative to more bulbous boots like the Wolverine 1000 Mile or the Red Wing Blacksmith, it's a nice departure from that. It's nice to have a different type of casual boot to wear that doesn't look like a hiking boot or something like that. But yeah, it is a firmly casual boot, so whatever you do, don't wear this with a suit. All right, those are my thoughts on the very unusual, very Portuguese Urban Shepherd original boots. If you like them, I got a link in the description below to buy them. There's also a discount code if that's something that you'd be interested in. I've got a written review as well with a bunch of photos and everything else. And make sure you subscribe as well, because I got a whole lot more boot reviews and other footwear reviews and fashion reviews and jeans reviews and all other kinds of stuff coming up.